Om Shanti, good evening everyone. My name is Jaymini Patel and I've been practicing Rajyoga meditation since 40 plus years, and it's my honor to speak about the topic real sympathy. Sympathy and real sympathy. What is the difference? I'm going to speak about that. Just want to also remind you that after this talk, I'm also going to take you into meditation experience, because this is something that supports you on the journey of real sympathy. So let us now begin the journey of what sympathy is and real sympathy. Especially in current times where we have all been through Corona period, the time when everyone was under lockdown, and we heard many of our family, friends, neighbors actually leaving us, and we didn't have an opportunity to go and say goodbye or meet the family, give our personal face-to-face condolences to them. But nevertheless, I'm sure most of us, all of us, we may have sent our condolences and also sympathy messages for the family, friends and neighbors at such time, and we all share, empathize with the scenario, with the situation. So what is real sympathy? Sympathy, as we understand, when I'm going through a difficult times in my life, could be I've lost a good friend, I've lost a family member, and my friends, my neighbors, my relatives would, from a distance at such times, share with me their supporting words and feelings. It's like sharing my sorrow, my grief, my pain, my suffering. By being with me, by sharing those supporting words and feelings, it's really a feeling that comes from a very pure, positive space. So when people are sharing their feelings of sympathy, their thoughts of sympathy, in the form of words, statements, or they send cards or flowers to acknowledge this particular sad times that I'm going through, that gives me a feeling of relief, although it doesn't really fill that gap, that space that somebody has left from my life. That person's absence is not being filled by any one person. And yet, the sympathetic feelings that are being shared, supporting words that are being shared, are amazing. They are very electrified words. They actually do bring a sense of comfort in the hearts, helping me to go through the rough patch, the sad patch in my life. It's like bringing or sprinkling energy of healing and sprinkling that energy with love, with care, with the feeling that I'm here for you. And that in itself is very comforting. I feel very comforted. I tell you something. There was a time many years ago, I would say in 80s, Dadi Janki, the head of the Brahma Kumaris, who is passed away during lockdown, she was 104 years of age. I have observed Dadi actually demonstrating at many situations sympathetic gestures by not only phoning those people or becoming present on the site, giving support to the families, but she has actually flew from London to Mexico. And this situation was, there was no physical relations whatsoever, but the place was devastated, people were devastated, and there was major earthquake in Mexico. So much suffering was everywhere in the country. We have a center in Mexico City, and Dadi did not think twice. She picked her bag. She went alone. None of us actually traveled with her at that time. She was capable of traveling by herself. This is in 80s. Probably Dadi must have been in her late 70s or mid 70s. And so imagine someone who did not speak fluent English, yet understood very well English, and she had been in this country since 1974, and Dadi had picked up language very quickly when she came to this country in the UK in 74. So my observation was the depth of Dadi's feeling close to the human hearts, to humanity, was great. Being a spiritual personality, unlimited personality on her level, with that spiritual awareness, for her there is no us and them, there is no division. For her it is one big world family. And therefore she was able to embrace everyone, even in the other part of the world, the place like Mexico. She flew to Mexico, she was present there, and it gave people a lot of comfort. She was with them, and so this is the ideal, real sympathy that she shared by becoming present. She did not think about her health when she had quite weak physical health, yet still she did not think about that. So this is what I call a real sympathy. During the lockdown in the UK and the whole world, many relatives and family members actually passed away, and many of us connected with those family members whom we knew, whom I knew through Zoom, and shared my condolences with the family by actually being present without being asked. Many a times what happens is that during such times, people wait to see whether they are related to that person or not. They know the person or not. But real sympathy is you go above these limitations of us and them, really go into unlimited space in the mind, and also on a physical level, crossing all the boundaries and making it happen. And this is what people are amazed, the ones on the receiving side. Because after having had so much spiritual exposure, when I say spiritual exposure is understanding about these very delicate emotional times on a spiritual level, but also on a mundane level. The understanding and the importance of how one needs to exercise those pure feelings, good wishes, sympathetic feelings, the feelings of condolences to whoever it is who needs, but without any boundaries. So, real sympathy is really crossing all the boundaries, all the cultures, all the relationships, codes, or, family ties, and really transcending on a very unlimited scale, where I don't wait to be asked for. I see the need and I extend my hand of support. I extend my company. I extend my help, whatever help it may be. So, what do I do? Or what is needed at that time from me? Because I shared this one experience that I observed Dadi Janki, who became present at this site of earthquake in Mexico, when we were clearly told, it was everywhere in the papers, in the news, that there was some sort of breakout of disease at that time with earthquake, and it was not safe for people to travel, and yet still Dadi went. And this is what I say real sympathy. Nothing happened to her. She came back very fine, and her presence was very, very valued, because it supported not only at that time the people in the center, but also all the local people around there. And the energy that she can share with them, the thoughts and the words and her presence was more valued. We all sitting at a distance, we did share our thoughts, but at the same time, she was there personally. That made a big difference. And so, during such times, I would say that I know that we were all told so-and-so was in the hospital, and we were told not to go to the hospital, and the family and the friends were nearly dying, and we knew they were going to leave their bodies, the souls were going to leave the bodies. And so all this was known. And yet, the feeling that were generated at that moment from our hearts was that of purely good feelings. When I say good feelings, the word we use here is sakash. Sakash is really a very deep feelings of love, for the souls. It heals. The energy has so much power that it actually heals the wounds, emotional wounds that people are left with after the scenario. And in this case, maybe, someone has lost their loved ones, the family members, or some sort of damage has been created or caused in their life, which cannot be paid off by anything or anyone, and it can never be recouped. And at such times, it is quite possible for a person to go into a kind of a dark space, which is, I would say, deep grief, which can get converted into a depression. And so before the person goes into that space, it's our responsibility, as we all human beings have a human instinct. And our human instinct is really so right at that moment of being present or helping in whatever way we could, by offering our services, by supporting them, becoming present, by sharing our purest feelings of words in the form of words, or by also sharing our sakash, which is light and might. These light and might are so powerful because I'm a meditator. And of course, if others know I'm a meditator, I'm a spiritual person, then they would want to get that help and support from me. They would look forward for that. And so it's my duty also and responsibility to be able to extend that in a very, very incognito way. There's no need to talk about it. Sitting at a distance, because I cannot be at the site, we were not allowed to go to the hospitals, we were not allowed to go to the funerals. Yet, wherever I am, thousands of miles away, I know about that person, I know of that person, I know the family is going through tough times. Picking up the phone, speaking to them, these are the small gestures that will take the family members a long way on their journey of healing. Because the wound that has been left in their heart, the space, the grey space, the deep feeling of sorrow, that can be healed by this light and might, the sakash. That I would be meditating, I would be literally emerging that person in my mind, and the family members, I can be thousands of miles away from them, and yet I'm able to connect myself so deeply with the divine that I'm able to radiate that energy through my thoughts. Because my thoughts that I generate actually works like antennas, and they reach out into thousands of miles away. So I don't have to be there present physically, and yet I can help them, I can support them. I can help to heal their wounds by sharing this energy of God's love and light. And this really works magic. I have so many such experiences. I would say that what is the experience that I have when I'm sharing real sympathy? The feeling I have is I really feel very connected with the divine. I feel deeply connected. And I also experience that I receive the light and the might and the love from the Almighty, from the divine, as I generate these powerful healing thoughts, healing energy to the families and the relatives of the family of the person who's passed away. I mean, I just giving you that one example, that what I do when I'm sharing, and I'm sincerely doing that in on the screen of my mind, I would definitely bring the image, the photograph of that person, and I will share. But first I will connect myself with the divine. So when I have that connection with the divine energy, I know I'm safe. I have to protect myself. So when it comes to sympathy, I'm going out there to share, but at the same time, I'm very aware that I'm not absorbing any negative energy, any sad energy. And so if I can keep protecting myself by first of all taking care of myself, taking care of my thoughts, then I can actually go a long way. So in my sharing with the families, with the members of the family and the relatives of that person, I also ensure that I don't leave them halfway. I totally, completely take care of them. And how do I do that? I would ask after them. Any support that you need, any help you need, I'm here. If possible, physically, I become present, visit them, sit with them, listen to them, make sure they have something to eat, that is taken care of during the time that they are going through. So it's like I'm walking with them. We are walking together. This is real sympathy. I'm not leaving them behind. I'm making sure even after that period is over, I follow up. I make a phone call. I make sure the family members are fine. Again, if there is any help and support that's needed, ask after them. That makes me feel very selfless. Many a times, when it comes to, I'm thinking about the word empathy. I understand what other person at that moment is going through. So I actually am with them. Now those moments, the emotions that they are going through may not be always sad emotions, but maybe also a happy time. So if I'm with them, whether they are sad or they are happy, I'm walking with them. I'm not being selfish, that I come in when I feel I want to go, but I would come in even if I don't actually see the need, and yet I'm present there. So I'm going beyond my selfish motives, because many a times I see there's a fine line between being selfless and being selfish. And I see that to be empathetic in a situation when a person is going through something, to understand and to actually acknowledge, listening. When I'm listening to them, when I'm acknowledging them, I actually feel half of the burden that person has is taken away. And so, really this whole thing about making sure the person is okay, who's lost the family members, who's been through a trauma, let them know I'm there for you. And so it's actually about keeping a very clear line for oneself, not getting mixed up with their sad emotions, not allowing those sadness to come in you. If that happens, then I will be actually not productive. I won't be able to give any benefit to anyone. And so for that reason, I have to first protect myself. So that's a real sympathy. Protecting myself to make sure I'm spiritually taking care of myself. I appreciate myself. I know that I have something of value to share. I'm not putting myself down. I'm not being selfish. I know that I'm here to actually address the need of the time. And so this is really a human instinct that we share in a moment, and that helps our society and also helps individuals. So the way it helps individuals, that it takes them no time to come out of that, dark space. And so they are on the journey of healing themselves. So once they have been healed, then they can get on with life. And so they are now on the path of their own spiritual journey. Whatever they have gone through, they have been able to establish understanding and square up everything that happened in their life, good or bad. And so once that is all done, then I can step away. And once I step away, I feel very fulfilled. I feel content in myself. And then I reflect back and see what could have been better. So my soul is safe. My space is that divine space, that pure space, that space which is full of energy. So I'm not really allowing my space to get, muddled up, confused, or mix up with any other bad emotions or bad feelings. In fact, I stay beyond. I stay detached. So this is the ability, the strength that I get when I have experienced, supporting others at such hard, difficult times. It comes as a result of my spiritual endeavor that I undertake It's my conscious choice to do that and to be there for the family. So really important for me to make sure that after having shared my sympathetic feelings, my thoughts in the form of condolences or being present, supporting the family, appreciating, that person, using the right phrases, supporting phrases, such that he or she will be always missed. And, we wish that person a happy journey, or we wish that person a journey which is a spiritual journey, which is free of any pain, any suffering. We wish that person happiness and love. And so really using those light words of joy, because real sympathy is the sympathy which gives hope. So it is not something that is going to leave a person with a question mark. What is happening to this soul who has gone from our life? Those questions are being answered in the form of an experience that I can actually share either in words or in my meditation. And the experience is like going beyond. The experience is the person who left it's not the end of their life, but in fact it's the beginning, because their spiritual understanding, the soul lives forever. The soul doesn't die. The soul, who is an actor, acting through the body, which is a costume. So when the costume is actually left behind and a real costume is taken on, so the real costume of the soul is incorporeal. It's that of light. And so the physical costume that we see through the physical eyes, we can touch, we can see, there are movements, all that happens when the soul is, that energy of soul is in the body. So the real sympathy is shared with the soul that has departed, but also the family members who are part of that whole scenario. They can feel connecting with that energy, with that soul, in a very beautiful way. And being able to say goodbye, being able to wish them happy onward journey, it's not a small thing. It's only when the understanding kicks in about the spiritual existence of the soul that becomes possible. There is spiritual connection that I can make. So this is a possibility that I introduce to them, that you can make that spiritual connection with that soul, to make sure that you share nothing but pure thoughts filled with good wishes and pure feelings. And so look at the virtues of that person, look at the specialities of that person, look at how much good they did to the community, to the family members. So allowing them to look at the life of that person and appreciating everything that they could give, they could share when they were around, they were in their life. So really feeling the feeling of being invaluable in their life is the feeling that gets generated during such times. So the family members begin to connect on a spiritual level rather than physical level. Physical level is the absence of the energy and feeling sad that it has left the soul, the person has left a void, and not knowing what the future is of that person. And so there is a dark space, the grey space. And therefore, the family feels sad. And they carry on for years and years and years with that feeling of sadness. But here the real sympathy, when it is shared, the soul, the families are enlightened. And the departed soul, the spiritual energy that has left the family members, that also gets constantly they get absolutely enveloped by this beautiful energy of good wishes and pure feelings from all the members of the family, but also all the friends and the spiritual community. So really in the Brahma Kumaris, we are very fortunate. Whenever someone leaves their physical body, or when someone is in the hospital, we hear the news, or is unwell, what we do, we all together sit and we meditate. We send that person God's light and might. And so that when this energy, light and might reaches out to that person, the next thing we hear, oh, they got better, they get healed, they come out of the hospital, and they are much better. So this is what the healing energy of meditation does. It's a beautiful tool. It is the right tool that helps souls to generate the light and might which will help souls to actually come out of that feeling of loneliness, or come out of that feeling of sadness, and they are covered with this beautiful experience of coming closer to the divine. And so this is where meditation plays very important role. So not only I'm able to support the family members and the friends and the neighbors, but in fact I'm able to also give myself that support, because I come from a spiritual education, spiritual understanding as to who I am and what I am. When it comes to who I am, I'm not only this name and this form which I see through the physical eyes, but I'm more than this. I'm a eternal, living, powerful energy. And I generate, what am I? I generate my innate qualities, which are very, very deeply embedded within my soul. And they are peace, love, happiness, joy, power, purity, all these qualities that we all need in today's time. Once I find that space of peace in myself, I'm very still. I'm very stable. My mind is not wandering. My mind is able to think clearly. You see, when I experience love, I love myself. It starts from the self. Love. So, what is love? I begin to recognize value of my own soul. When I value myself, when I accept myself as I am, I respect myself, then I'm able to give all that to others. So it's a very, very comfortable space that I create for myself. And I move with this. So imagine it's an opportunity for me to enhance, to empower myself, so that I can in return help my community, I can help my other soul brothers, and I can be with them at difficult times. And I can help them to come out of that situation. And so it's not a physical thing that I bring them out. It's not a physical things. It's not anything to do with mundane and grossness. But it's actually very subtle. It's very incognito. It's very intangible feelings that are generated at that time. And the souls who are actually going through that, they can feel it. They can feel the support. So for me to make sure that my preparation is I look after myself. I take care of myself. So that I can keep myself on this particular task of sharing real sympathy and also empathy, understanding where people are coming from. And it's my learning, it's my education, it's my growing. So no one is perfect. I learn a lot from just doing this. I empower myself, and I'm also able to share because I value. I value what I have. I value what I experience. I value my connection with the divine and the importance of my connection so that I can share with others. If I don't value, if I don't acknowledge and appreciate what I have, I will not be able to make any difference. So first of all, it's always coming to the self. If I can change the way I think, when I look at the scenarios of the world and I see so many people needing help, and I think, well, how can I help? I don't know them. And if I disconnect myself like that, then I will never be able to do that. But here the possibility with the spiritual understanding and education is that each one of us, we have a responsibility. We can all express that real sympathy, no matter where you are on this planet. The moment I hear the news, or if I'm near or far away, I can be part of it. It's my responsibility. It's my duty. And I love this whole idea. Dadi Janki flying to Mexico and being present there, although she was told that there's an outburst of some epidemic at that time. I can't remember what it was. And yet still, she did not take that on board. She became present. So that really teaches me a lesson that never ever stop, hesitate from helping another at such adverse times. We lost a very good 2 or 3 members of our spiritual family, very close, suddenly. It was suddenly. And this news was not very easy for the family members to grasp. And we are all part of that. And I learned a lot through those scenarios. And I also observed, the impact of one of the person whose mother passed away. I could not actually meet her personally, the lady whose mother passed away, but I met her after some days and weeks, and what I saw on her face was radiant glow. And she's a meditator, and her mother was a meditator who passed away. And I could see the radiance on her face, and this really tells me a lot about their spiritual connection with the divine. It's so deep and profound, and they are so honest with that deep connection, and also their deep understanding about the spiritual existence of the soul. And this understanding actually is acting as a light. So when there is light, there is no darkness. That's how I see it. So when there is real light of knowledge, understanding of knowledge about this situation, to be specific, there is no darkness. When it's darkness, darkness is like sorrow. Darkness is ignorance. Ignorance is sorrow. And so there is no spark of ignorance, darkness on her face. And I was amazed. And this actually brought light to me, that person looks very simple. She's by herself. She had her son who lived far away, and yet he traveled and he came to be with the mother, because it's her mother who passed away. And that actually shows the real sympathy. To be able to not only help those who have gone, but also more than that, to help yourself. To be powerful, to be useful, to be giving something, sharing something with the family. So with this, let us have a few moments of reflective, meditative thoughts. Perhaps you may like to try this. You may have meditated before. If not, you like to try these thoughts. Just let your mind become totally still and calm. These are the thoughts that actually helps the mind to be still. The thoughts of one's own eternal existence, that of peace, love, happiness, joy, wisdom. This is what each one of us are. We radiate the true light, whether we know it or we don't know it. Each one of us, we have that truth within our being. It's up to me if I help myself to unfold this truth. Let me allow myself the possibility of being at peace, recognizing this in itself is a powerful tool. Total control over my thoughts. My thoughts are stable. I'm able to direct my mind in the direction that I want it to go. And so the times are depicting the action I ought to take. And the action is, let this positive, peaceful energy of the soul reach out to those who are in need. This positive energy, powerful energy, works like antennas. It can travel thousands of miles. Nothing can stop it. It reaches out to those people who are in need. And this energy, soothing energy, helps to unblock those traumas and bring the healing power, the healing energy into their life. And so all their sorrows and pain are healed. I can share this in the form of words or thoughts. They are very supporting and very consoling. It gives them all strength to go through the difficult times. Let me continue to share this energy, this power, which is very powerful, energetic, full of healing energy. Because I am absolutely connected with the divine energy. I acknowledge that divine energy, the supreme energy, the supreme source into my life, but also in the universe. Nothing and no one can take that away. It's only that energy that can heal. God's energy of love that we all have right over has power to heal the souls. And once again, give the strength to those people who need in their lives to carry on with their life. Om Shanti. Thank you very much for listening to these thoughts. I'd like to remind you the next Tuesday talk's topic is why letting go works. And this talk is going to be given by Didi Nirmala, who is coordinator and the director of Regional Office of Australasia. Please make sure you come to the talk next following Tuesday. Thank you very much. Om Shanti.